Welcome back to part 8 of this series, and yes, I know we've only done 10 tips this time, but don't worry, because there are even more coming in the future, so hold your damn horses lads. Before we start the video, I just want to mention that this is for beginners only and maybe some intermediate players. Tip number 1, requesting jobs. Sometimes when you join a GTA session you can feel a bit naked, and that's not because you forgot to put on clothes when you woke up. I mean, goddamn, look at that dad bod. Sometimes when you join a session you may not be able to get your own CEO, and that's because there are too many players already in one. And in the past I've always talked about the teleport methods with the heist text messages on your phone. Do half the fleecer job to always get notifications to teleport to your apartment, and as well the facility heists. However, when you're not in a CEO you won't be able to teleport to your facility. This is because you always need to be in a CEO to do that. And if that's the case, there is a quick text message method that you can do. You won't be able to teleport, but it will keep you safe. When you spawn in, request a job straight away from someone in your contacts, some perfect examples being either Simeon or Gerald. And once you have, keep your job hanging there and only accept it in emergencies, for example when somebody's about to attack you. And once you've done that, you can pretty much sit in this lobby for about 20 to 30 seconds and then back out when you feel like it. You'll spawn exactly where you accepted the invite from, and hopefully the guy who tried to attack you will then be far away. And if he's not far away, then you can go and kick his booty. Tip number 2, be cautious of players who are standing on very high places. Obviously the biggest buildings on this game are located in the middle of the city. Now, in the past I always said if somebody is standing on a roof and their blip is staring right at you, then you need to assume they're either trying to snipe you or thermal snipe you. But as an extra precaution tip, the chances of them having an Oppressor Mark II next to them is pretty much high. If this player really is motivated to kill you, then they will get their Oppressor and chase you down. Now, to take care of this, there is a couple of options depending on the scenario that you're in. If you're in a lock-on jammer vehicle, then throw sticky bombs out of the window. And if you're in a Terrader, head for them straight on. And if you're on foot and have aim assist, then use the marksman rifle with holographic sight. And also add some fire rounds because this will kill them quicker. And because you can lock onto targets from pretty far away, you shouldn't have trouble killing them. Number 3, being hidden inside interiors. When you're using out of sight in an area, it's safe to assume that they won't be able to see you when you're inside the interior, when in fact that's not always the case. For example, you may not think you could be seen on the map right now, when actually you can. Let's say you live in the Eclipse Towers for example. If you use out of sight in the Legion Square area, then they won't be able to see you when you're inside the apartment. And to be fair, I'm not 100% sure if this is also the same for the other apartments. Somebody might have to clear me on that in the comments. The interiors are technically under the map and not actually in the buildings themselves, which is why this works. And if anybody knows where all the hidden interiors are, please feel free to comment down below. Number 4, making the Terrader jump. The Terrader is a vehicle which in more ways than one is one of the best vehicles in the game. And you can make it better. We all know sometimes, let's say if you're on a certain angle, you can fly with a Terrader pretty high, and this is especially common in the countrysides on the hills. But you can do this in the city as well. You just need to shoot the wall, wait for your car to tilt upwards and then boost. This is useful because you are more flexible to take out certain vehicles, such as the Oppressors, Deluxos and even aircrafts if they're close enough. And if you are a fan of dipshotting, then you could possibly do this, but to be honest it is pretty hard to do in a Terrader. This method has helped me out tremendously in battles, and with enough practice it should help you too. But obviously don't forget to reset your armor every so often, because if you do too much damage to yourself then yep, you're gonna blow up. So make sure if you are doing this to put away your vehicle and then request it again. Number 5, spamming punches. Punching somebody's guts out in GTA is no doubt satisfying, and if you do find yourself in a cage match with somebody and you want to win all the knockouts, there is a way you can punch them quicker. You need to sprint and punch, and the way to do that is just by memorizing the sequence. Spam the punch button twice and then spam the sprint button twice, and then repeat it again. So on PlayStation it's R2 R2 XX, R2 R2 XX. It takes a bit of practice, but you will get it in the end. Tip number 6, practice headshots in general. This is a logical tip, but if you're a beginner and you're wondering why sometimes you're not doing enough damage to the other player, this might be because you're not aiming high enough. By default, when you aim and lock onto somebody in GTA, it will go for their chest body area, but the real weak spot is in their head. Because surprisingly enough, that's where their brain is located, and how they actually have a brain, I have no idea. So you want to practice slightly lifting the analog stick a bit once you're aiming, and if you do this too high, you will start shooting the seagulls instead. So make sure you practice enough and get the right movement. For example, if your sensitivity settings are a bit different, it might take you longer to aim for their head. Number 7, putting sticky bombs on your planes. Throwing sticky bombs on the front of your plane is something that we all don't really think about doing. But it is a combat tip which might get you a one-up on a griefer who is using an aircraft. Simply just throw 5 sticky bombs on the end of your plane, crash into them head first, and then quickly detonate. And with the power of all those sticky bombs, you will take them out. This obviously won't work with all the vehicles, such as the Avenger, as they are a bit more tougher to take out, because the Avengers are pretty much the tanks of the sky. Oh, and don't try and blow up trees either, because this will happen. Yeah. Number 8, using free mode work to get rid of players' ghost. In the past, I mentioned a method where if you put a bounty on someone, you can get them straight out of ghost if they've ghosted you. Well, there is another way you can also take them out without having to wait for a bounty cooldown, and that is starting up free mode work. This will completely take them out of it, and you can get your kill on them again and laugh in their face some more. The ghost feature in GTA is completely broken, and in my opinion, it's absolutely useless. Passive mode works way better because the bounty method and the free mode work method doesn't affect them. And this also works vice versa, by the way. If you've ghosted them and they're right next to you taunting you, just quickly start a free mode activity like Headhunter and then quickly take them out. Tip number 9, learn when to shoot in sniper battles. A common mistake that most players make in GTA Combat is that when they're having a sniping battle, they will just keep shooting no matter what. Because you can just keep your finger held on a trigger button when you're sniping, but will that actually get you anywhere? Instead, only shoot when your dot is lining up with their body. That way, you're not wasting time reloading and you can focus more on making a more precise shot. To be fair, an NPC was probably a bad example, but you get the point. Also, the higher that you aim, the more damage you do to them, so also take that into consideration. And also, whatever scope you want to use is completely up to you, but as I've just said, your shots do matter. And number 10, stalking people in the facility. You can call a strike team and spectate a player when they're being an absolute menace. All you have to do is go to your facility and head into the security part, and then call any level strike team, and after that you can easily spectate them. This also works if they have their spectator options off, but we'll get to that a bit later. You can stalk them constantly until they either hide in an RC vehicle, go inside an interior, or die. And to be fair, it's pretty interesting, especially when you're a nosy little bugger like me. Now, you might know that you can also stalk players when watching a TV in your apartment. Why Rockstar even added this stupid feature, I don't know, but if you don't want to be stalked via the TV, then there is a way you could turn this option off. Just pause the game, scroll all the way down to options, find allow spectators, and then simply switch it to off, and it's as easy as that. And finally, you're no longer famous on TV. Well guys, thank you for watching the video. I really hope there were some combat tips there that you didn't know, or maybe that's some that did help you out. Sorry that the uploads haven't been too frequent at the moment because I have been quite busy, but I promise that we'll be back on track quite soon. And with that being said, I will see you all again very soon.